bienvenue à 10.3, impersonal verbs and expressions. So we're going to learn a few new ones. We're going to look at a few of the ones that you've already known for a while now. So impersonal verbs, expressions. Basically, it is what it sounds like. It's impersonal. So when we say something like, il fait chaud, we're talking about the weather. We're saying, it's hot. We're not saying he here. That wouldn't make any sense. So it's just a statement that doesn't really have a person doing the action. And it's always, always, always in the third person singular. Remember our third person on our chart here? 1, 2, 3, and it's always singular on this side here. It's always il fait or whatever you would find as the conjugation in this section of the table here. So, like I said, like we've already seen, you know it for the weather. Il fait chaud, il neige, it's snowing. It's not he's snowing, okay? It's il neige, it's snowing. Il fait beau. So we use it for the weather. You've already seen that. There's some other ones that you've already seen, like il y a, there is or there are. This is not referring to a person, okay? We have il est 14 heures, okay? It's 14 o'clock, talking about the time here. You might have seen this. Il s'agit de, you're talking about, it's about, okay? Another impersonal. And here's where it gets a little bit more new for you. Il vaut mieux. Okay? So, literally this is like, it's worth better, but it just means like, it's better. And all of these, again, are impersonal. Let's look at something that we're going to really focus on here for this grammar point. It's the phrase il est plus an adjective plus de plus an infinitive verb. Right? And it's as simple as plugging things in here. So you could say il est amusant de regarder des films. Okay? Il est amusant de jouer aux jeux vidéo. Il est difficile de comprendre. Okay? It's difficult to understand. So it has some strong similarities to what we would say in English. It is difficult to understand. It is fun to watch movies, right? So this is kind of like the gateway that brings us to the next part of this grammar point, which is learning a new impersonal verb, really. This is an impersonal expression, and it's pretty easy. It's pretty self-explanatory. Now let's look at a new verb. And this new verb is falloir, okay? And it could mean, and remember, notice we're gonna use this verb, and on this chart, it's going to be a third person singular. Il faut, right? Il faut. So this is, it's necessary. Like the same idea as it must be done, should, or have to, right? And when I show you some examples, you'll get a better idea of that. Now, this verb, it's different than a lot of the verbs because it's always, 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 this verb is always in the third person singular. You don't even need to know the new conjugation for this. Falloir is always il faut, or another, if it's in a different tense, like the imparfait, it's still in this section of the table right here. So let's look. We can use this impersonal verb here with with infinitive verbs. Okay, so that's easy enough. Il faut étudier. Okay, that's it. It's like what we just looked at. Il est, and remember adjective, nécessaire, plus de, plus infinitive verb. Il est nécessaire d'étudier. And you could say, il faut étudier. And you're saying, you must study. Studying must be done here, okay? You should study. Il faut étudier. So we use it a lot in saying, like, what do I need to do to be successful in school? Well, one of the things, il faut étudier. One must study. Studying needs to happen. Again, since this verb, it's not exactly in English, the translation can fit the context, but you're saying you need to study, okay? It's important to study. One must study. Again, that's necessary, must, should, have to. It's all this idea. So we use it with an infinitive. Il faut étudier. Infinitive. Next, il faut, you can have a noun afterwards. Il faut, maybe it's at the end of the year and your teacher is saying, we need to give a test, we need a test. Il faut un examen. Or how about, il faut, you can respond, il faut une, faut, how about, un jour de congé. Okay? We need a vacation day. We need a day off. Okay? So il faut followed by a noun. You can also have, this is going to be previewing some other material. Il faut que. So il faut que followed by the subjunctive. All right, subjunctive we're going to learn next chapter, chapter 11. So since we don't know it yet, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, but il faut que, and then let's follow it with basically what's going to be a sentence. Il faut que, and we'll just use the example here, nous sachions la vérité. Okay? It's necessary that we know the truth. Now this one, if you remember your conjugation, this is savoir, but we're not using the present indicative, we're using the subjunctive here. So you need a completely different type of conjugation if you say il faut que. So if you don't know subjunctive yet, avoid this at all costs. Now I'll tell you a way to avoid it. Instead of saying il faut que, what you do is say il faut, but then before it, you use a pronoun. It's a little bit more difficult than it sounds, or easier. Il faut, and you put a pronoun here that's an indirect object. So here we needed to know the truth. And here, if we say our pronoun here, and that's our indirect object, il nous faut la vérité. Okay? We need the truth. By putting the nous before this, and remember it's not performing this action here. Okay? This still gets conjugated with il faut, to us, it's the indirect, the truth. Alright. What do you really need to know? You need to focus on this. Il faut plus an infinitive verb afterwards. It's like saying it's necessary. It's necessary to do this. So when you're giving, telling people things that they should do, and it's very generalized, like this would apply to everybody too, you could do this. It's very common. once you learn it, you'll start seeing it a lot. Okay? Alors, bonne chance. Avoid the subjunctive until we get to chapter 11, and then we'll learn il faut que a little bit more. Okay, au revoir.